This is the last of a set of 3 videos on CSS, looking at making a photo slide. Not a photo slideshow, but more like a set of tiles that you can use to click on. So I'll be starting with a set of pictures like this. Vertical, big pictures, making thumbnails, giving them borders, and doing highlighting when you move over them, basically making it look like a nice slideshow page. What we're going to do is change the base colors and font. We'll start with doing that. We'll reduce the size of the images. Put the legend, which used to be below them. We'll use float left, which takes an object and makes it a block and tries to put it as close to the left as it can go as a block. So that means that these things, when they can fit left, they go, and then they go below if they can't fit left. We'll then add a bit of spacing around things, change the link styles to make them a bit nicer looking, and add hoverovers. So for example here, my cursor's over this one, we've got a nice grey background, and it's highlighting the link a wee bit more. Okay. Page currently looks like this. And I should say all of the images are by Moen Bren, and if you search on Flickr for Scotland with Creative Commons attributions, then you'll find these pictures there and a lot more to boot. It's a lovely place. Anyway, back to the point. This is our code, so a bunch of paragraphs. Each paragraph has got a link in it, and the link just goes to the images directory, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And inside the link, there's an image, which is the picture itself, and an alt tag. Okay, just for clarity. So if I hover over it and click, it takes me there. If the images don't load for some reason, then it shows as an alt tag, and that's also what visually impaired people get if they're using a screen reader. So it will read out image 1 instead. It's probably not the best design, considering it then says image 1 as well, because the text is there. But it's good policy to put in alt tags whenever they're meaningful. Okay, so the first thing we've got to do is start preparing this page for styling it. So it's a very simple page just now, but let's add some divs to it. So I'm going to add a header for the head section. We've got a header. Boom, boom, boom. A div images for the main section. And a div footer for the bottom section. Okay. That won't make any difference to the page visually. It's just saying there are divisions in the document, and that allows us to play with those divisions in the style sheet. As in the previous video, I'm just going to do the styles in line, but you could also do them as a separate sheet. The first thing we said we do would we'd start styling it a bit darker so it looks like a page. So I'm going to have a body. We set the background color to, I could say black, or I could say dark. You can actually pick from these menus, or you can just enter the RGB value. If you're entering RGB, it's normally like that, where the 1, is the hex for the R, so it allows the 256 values. 2, is the G for green, so it's red, green, blue, 2 hex digits each. That gives you the full 24-bit color spectrum. Or you can do that, which is a shortcut if they're repeated. So that's the shortcut for 11, or I shouldn't say 11 when it's hex. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. I'm just going to for dark, really dark grey of 2, 2, 2. I'm going to make my text white, oops, and I'm going to do the font. I'm just going to, whatever sans serif font you prefer, I'll use it. Refresh the page. basic styles have changed a lot now. Links are almost unreadable, so it's probably worth adding. Go for, what will we go for? A light blue. Blue is traditionally a link, so we may as well keep that there. There we go. The underline is a bit irritating, so I'm going to take the text decoration none, and there we go, starting to look better. Okay, so that's our basics done. Let's reduce the size of the images. So inside the image block, I want all images. I want their width to be 200 pixels. And I want their height to be 150 pixels. I'm just fixing these in pixels here so that they don't scale with the page, which kind of makes sense for pictures. And that should shrink all the images. That didn't shrink all the images. Oh, I used ID, I didn't use clash, so it should be hash image block. Still didn't shrink all the images. It's not an image block, it's called images. Double dole. There we go, better. Let's shrink our images. Put a legend below rather than to the right. Normally images are presented in line with the text. So as you go through the text, the image is in line. That's display in line. If we change the display of the image to a block, it makes it a full block across the parent object. So it's not in line with the text, it's an actual block. Kind of more like a paragraph normally is. So that has the effect of forcing the next object onto the next line. Ta-da! Right, so next, put the legend below, float them left. So what am I going to float? Well, these images are inside links, which are inside paragraphs. So it kind of makes sense just to float the paragraphs. So inside the images div, all paragraphs, I want you to float left. And when you do this, you also have to specify the width, which I'm going to make just a bit bigger than the pictures. So I'm going to make it 250 px. I'm going to make the height 200 px. And just so that that extra space is equal, I'm going to do a text align center. Okay, so I'm floating them left at a fixed size and aligning the contents in the center. And that does that. So this paragraphs are now one after each other. Maybe we've got an issue with this. We'll deal with that in a minute. And if I resize, the images now drop below each other. So when they fit, they fit. When they don't, they go below each other. Lovely. What's the problem with this text? The problem with that text is the really annoyance in CSS. And it's one of the things that leads to lots of bugs in CSS when you start floating things, is that the float persists. Once it's set, it persists for other objects on the page, which kind of doesn't match my understanding of CSS and my model of CSS, but that's what happens. So the next, floating on to the next thing. So the next thing is the footer. So if we say hash footer, you clear both undoes any floats. If we refresh the page now, we've undone that, so that appears underneath now. And we're very close to there. Okay, much nicer. So we've floated left. Add a bit of spacing. So around the paragraphs. we could maybe add a border. So padding of 20 pixels. And around the images we could add the same. Is that too much? No, that looks quite nice. Yeah. So things are, that's maybe a bit much. Might drop that down by 10. A lot of this is trial and error. It's very good when you're developing CSS to try something and look at the effects immediately, and also to pay attention to the console. And in here, this is Chrome, you can open the images and you can see that's my paragraph. Okay, and you can see here by hovering over the different elements that that's the content of the paragraph. It's going a wee bit wrong at the bottom, that text. Then there's the padding, and then there's the margin around it. Okay, you open it up, you can see the images in here, core image, the padding around it. Yep. But it's do a little thing, look at it. Don't edit lots of CSS in one go without looking, or you might be in trouble. It's very hard to debug backwards. What were we doing? Well, let's add some hovers. Okay. So when we hover over a paragraph, so there's our paragraph definition. It's useful to keep them close together. So in images, paragraph, hover, we'll change the background to, maybe we picked 222 up there, so we'll pick 444 is slightly lighter grey. Now when we go over the paragraphs, we should get a nice grey edge, and that looks rather nice. Okay. We changed the link styles immediately. You can also change them on hovers. So you could add a hover and change the color of the links. But I think that will do us for now. Much more in CSS in the book. That's us for CSS. The next video is looking at Ajax and trying to have more dynamic integration between the server and the client.